David, thank you very much for joining us. Did you watch much of the Rugby Championship over the summer?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
Were you impressed with what you saw with the opposition that England will face during the QBE Internationals?
Yeah, I was. I think New Zealand predictably looked pretty scary. They looked pretty complete. They come under pressure once or twice, certainly for South Africa, from Australia too, but geez, they know how to win. They're in that habit. They've been in that habit for about 30 years, unfortunately. They don't seem to have kicked it yet. They're an astonishing team, but Argentina, for me, they're the team that England don't necessarily always find it easy to play against Argentina. They won a couple of tests in the summer, that's fine, but it wasn't against their first team. They're great wins nonetheless, but let's be frank, that wasn't their first choice 15 or even their first choice 23. So I think they're going to be hard work this autumn, hard work.
As a front row player, how important is it for the likes of Dan Cole, Vunipola to attack?
It's very, very important. And actually, what it's about, it's a psychological battle. So physically, it's exhausting to dominate a scrum, believe it or not. It's a little bit more exhausting to be dominated, which is the point, which is why it's worth doing. But I think England will and should really target that area. And actually, England were dominant at scrum time against the Argentinians, and some of it, as we've said, wasn't necessarily their first choice starting lineup. But then Argentina, I don't think, are the sort of the world force they were. They're a very, very good scrummaging team. You know, let's be clear about that. They've got a couple of very good hookers. They've got a couple of very good loose heads. But actually, on the tight head, they have Juan Pablo Orlandi, who's just arrived at Bath, who's a big unit. They have Maximiliano Bustos, a good guy, plays for Montpellier. These guys are not Omar Hassan. They're not dominating the world of scrummaging at the moment, and actually I think they're better out there. There still will be a lot of pressure. They're still a very, very strong unit. The Argentinians take scrummaging very, very seriously, so again, psychologically you have to at least match them there, and I think England will do that. I think Corbicero is your first choice. I think in pure scrummaging terms, Joe Marler's probably your second choice. He'll be close to Corbicero, big strong unit. I think Mako's a better scrummager than people realise. His technique is very good. He's incredibly athletic. He doesn't look it when he stood still, but as soon as he's moved, he's an incredible athlete, incredible mover, very, very flexible. So pretty much any technique you want him to adopt at scrum time, he has the physical capability to adopt. Lots of guys have to work on the rest. For me, Mako has the rest and is working on becoming a monster in the scrum, and I think with the England pack around him, I think he'll do just fine.
How exciting is it to have the likes of Mako and also Billy as ball-carrying prospects, which then the backs can feed off that momentum?
Billy's fantastic, and I fully expect to see him out there playing. But you know, for me, lots of back row players are good ball carriers. He's better than most, but you look at the top guys around the world; they're all carrying ball at a similar level. They're all carrying a lot of ball. They're all getting offloads away. They're all dominant in contact, in attack with ball in hand. For me, Mako is the sensation. I mean, I haven't seen a prop that good with ball in hand actually since Matt Stevens 5 years ago playing at Bath and playing for England. He was, for me at that point, when he was actually coming off the bench a bit at Bath and then beginning to get in the first team at Bath and breaking into the England side, he was the best ball carrying prop on the planet. And now I think Mako is probably close to that. I think he's that good. I mean, a guy that big with that much balance, incredible, and he's got a hell of an engine as well.
Looking ahead to 2015, do England need to win every single one of these QBE Internationals?
I think now it starts to get serious. I think they have to beat Argentina. I think declaring that they won't be able to win the World Cup if they don't beat New Zealand in a few weeks is a bit ridiculous. They could lose all three and win the World Cup. But I think by the time the World Cup comes around, they have to be a seriously considered threat. And to do that, you need victories in the bank. And that starts this autumn. What Stuart Lancaster's done from the start is look to 2015, look to the World Cup. And I think he'll use these QBE games actually to keep building leaders, not just to pick them for now when we've got to win this Saturday. They want to win this Saturday, but winning in 2 years is more important.
So score predictions?
I see them winning perhaps with less style, and they'll probably get criticised for that, but actually the Argentinians are bloody awkward to play rugby against. They're big, dense men. I don't mean in IQ terms. I mean physically, they're big, hard, strong men. They're just built a bit differently, and they make rugby very, very difficult to play against them a lot of the time. I think they'll win that, but more narrowly than the armchair punter might assume.
And last question, Corb, Stroke, Vunipola, Youngs and Cole, is that a World Cup winning front row?
Yep, all day long.